If you would like to change an old habit, seek out your old programming, recognize it for what it is, and make a minor decision to do something about it, and erase it, replace it with something better. Let's look at another example of habit changing self-talk. In this instance, we will use self-talk to tackle a habit that holds a lot of people back from reaching their full potential, the habit of wasting time and worry. Conquering just this one negative habit has turned underachievers into winners and given them extra time, peace of mind, and a fresh new outlook on life. Once again, when you read the examples of the habit-changing self-talk, notice that self-talk does not just talk about the symptom. It breaks the old habit down and gets at its root, and the positive new self-talk covers the problem from every angle. It creates a completely new, better mental environment. It shows you a natural new picture of yourself actually being the worry-free, more productive person you would like to become. This time, as you read the self-talk, try reading it out loud and make it more than a few words written in the pages of the book and give it life. Self-talk becomes active when you pull it off and the written page and address it directly to yourself. Positive self-talk for freedom from worry. I do not worry. I am in control of my own thinking, and I think only these thoughts which create and fulfill the best in me. My mind is constantly in tune with the positive. It is bright, cheerful, enthusiastic, and full of good, positive thoughts and ideas. I'm able to relax easily and comfortably in my body, and in my mind, I'm calm, confident, and self-assured. My mind is orderly and well organized. I consciously choose what I think, and I always choose those thoughts which are the most positive and beneficial for me. All of my thoughts create healthiness within me, and my mind dwells only on those thoughts which create more harmony, balance, and well being within me and in the world around me. I automatically and always think in a decisive and determined way. I am full of resolution of the absolute assurance of the best possible outcome in everything that I do. I choose to look at the world around me in the bright, healthy light of optimism and self-assurance. I do only those things which are best for me. I create the best within myself. I attract the best in others, and I find the best in the world around me. I willingly and without fail take care of the duties and obligation which I have accepted for myself. I commit only to those responsibilities which I know I can fulfill. I focus the attention of my mind only on those things that I can do something about. If I cannot affect it or direct it, I accept it. I keep my mind too busy thinking good, healthy, positive, constructive, and productive thoughts to ever have any time for worry. I control the thoughts I choose. No thought at any time can dwell in my mind without my approval or permissions. I never worry. For every habit you can come up with that should be changed, and there is the right self-talk to change it. But the two examples of habit-changing self-talk we have just seen will give you an idea of how self-talk is constructed and how it covers not only the problem itself but how it creates a surrounding mental environment that fits and supports the decision to change. Most of those things we call bad habits are in reality the symptom of something else which is going on inside of us, and they are the result of the broad, varied belief we have about ourselves, which, when all lumped together, push us into a pattern of behavior which ends up causing problem for us. Self-talk looks at the whole being, all of the furniture in our mental apartment from a holistic point of view. It doesn't just cure the symptom, it changes the problem which caused the symptom in the first place. To change the habit, change the words. We are creatures of habit, but any habit once learned can be changed. The problem has been that in the past, changing them has been difficult because we were trying to change direction without first changing the old programming. With self-talk, we accomplish both. We override the old while we are creating the new. Choose a habit you would like to change. Don't try to change your life overnight and start off with a minor habit, something small. Then change the words which describe yourself to you. Once you begin, keep at it. It is exciting to watch the changes to take place, to witness the replacement of the old habits which once got in the way with the emerge of fruitful, valuable new habits of winning. Chapter 17: Changing Attitudes. Everything we do is affected directly or indirectly by our attitudes. A change in a person's attitude can affect just about everything else in that person's life. Even a small shift in attitude adjustment can have a profound effect on what we do and how we do it. If you have ever had a son or daughter in school, you know how true that is. A change in attitude can result in a change in grades, dress, habits, and friends. And the better the attitude, the better the result in almost anything we do, because attitude affect our feeling, and feeling affect what we do and how well we do it. Having a good attitude can be a deciding factor in our successes or failure. The right attitudes can give us the important edge. Since our attitudes are the result of our programming, it makes good sense to take a look at the attitude we are living with, why they are what way they are, and which of them we might like to change, because every attitude we have directly affects how we feel about everything around us and what we do about it. Our attitudes are important. Without the right attitudes, we will never have the key that unlocks the treasure chest of happiness and success we so badly want and so richly deserve. Attitudes create the biggest part of the picture we see of ourselves. They are the filters through which we view everything in our sight. Our attitude are our disposition. They are the state of mind we live in. Our attitude express themselves through our moods, our temperament, our willingness, and our hesitations. Our attitudes propel us forward toward our victories and poke us down in defeat. They are the foothold beneath us in every step we take, and they are what others see most of the personality within us. They describe us and define us, projecting the image we present to the world around us. Our attitudes make us rich or poor, happy or unhappy, fulfilled or incomplete. They are the single most determining factor in every action we will ever make. We and our attitudes are inextricably combined. We are our attitudes, and our attitudes are ours. Managing attitudes in others. If you are in any way responsible for development of attitudes of others as a manager, parent, teacher, or friend, don't expect to change someone else's attitude with a carrot or a stick. By using incentive, lectures, punishment, complaint, or flattery, attitude don't work that way. For years, business managers have used incentive to boost attitude to improve productivity and increase sales. But even though they get short-term improvement, some businesses find that before too long they have to put the new incentive program into effect. They didn't really change any attitude, they did anything more than create a short-term temporarily effect in their employee outward behavior, not a change in their attitudes. If you use an incentive of one kind of or another to change an attitude, it may appear to work, but the effect it won't last. You will find yourself needing to resupply another incentive each time the previous incentive wears off. Another time that we frequently use the wrong method to change attitude is when we are attempting to help someone else improve an attitude that we believe is working against that person, in spite of the fact that school, counselors, parents, husbands, wives, managers, and friends frequently tell some individual, "You need to change your attitude," telling someone that has never done any good at all. In fact, just saying that to someone can have a wrong effect. It is negative programming. It will work against the individual instead of for him. It reconfirms his pre-programmed belief that all the bad things he already thinks about himself are true. In fact, it is precisely when a person's attitude is down that it is the hardest for that person to figure out any way to change it. Why should they? How can they? Our attitude are determined by our belief, and if we believe we are less than the best, to us that it is fact. That is reality. That's the way it is. Of course, it is not true at all. It's as true to the person who believes it. Recall for a moment the natural process by which attitudes are created in each of us. Programming creates feelings, and feelings determine actions, and actions create results. Each of those steps, behavior, feeling, attitude, and belief, is the logical and expected result of our conditioning. It follows then that every attitude we have good, bad, or indifferent, is the natural result of the programming that preceded it. Every one of us from time to time suffers from a less than perfect attitude. A bad attitude does not belong solely to the student who won't study, or to the company employee who didn't get a rise, or to the best friend whose personal life has just fallen apart. Attitudes, good and bad, are an everyday part of our life. Changing attitudes in yourself. An attitude we might like to change need not be an attitude that is calamitous or extreme. It may be a problem which is quite simple. An attitude which, if fine-tuned just a little, could make some small part of our daily life work better. And because even the simplest or the most important of our attitudes can be changed by redoing a piece or two of our programming. If we would like to make a change and we know how to make that programming change, there really is not any impassable obstacle stopping us from going ahead and doing it. The attitudes which you have about yourself create one additional important result. The attitude you have about yourself determines the attitudes you will have about everything else around you. So, if you want to change the way you feel about anything else, you have to start first with the attitude you have about yourself. It is for the reason that most of the attitude changing self-talk deals with you and how you see yourself. To illustrate, let's examine an actual pre-written script of attitude changing self-talk, and this category of self-talk includes such a subject titles as freedom from worry, taking responsibility for yourself, building self-esteem, positive self-talk for teens, overcoming obstacles, determinations, and willpower, successful marriage, overcoming personal limitation, and believing in incredible you. For this example, we will use a self-talk script for personal responsibility. Our attitudes about the part of each us placed in our own earthly destinies are some of the most important attitudes we will ever hold. The difference between having an attitude of accepting responsibility for who we are and what we do, and having an attitude which makes excuses or places our lives in the hands of others, is essential to our ability to achieve a sense of self and the individual fulfillment which self-responsibility creates within us. But even considering the importance of which this one attitude placed in each of our life, notice how directly and effectively even a few self-talk statements can address a subject, simplify it, and begin the reprogramming process of an attitude that is essential to all of us. Self-talk for taking responsibility for yourself. I take full responsibility for everything about me, even the thoughts that I think I am in control of the vast resources of my own mind. I alone am responsibility for what I do and what I tell myself about me, and no one can share this responsibility with me. I also alone others to accept the responsibility for themselves, and I do not try to accept the responsibility for them. I enjoy being responsible. It puts me in charge of being me, and that's a challenge I enjoy. I allow no one else at any time to assume control or responsibility over my life and over anything that I do. My responsibility to others is an extension of my own responsibility to myself. I choose to leave nothing about me up to change when it comes to me and anything in my life. I choose to choose. My choices are mine alone to make for myself. I do not at any time allow anyone else to make any choice for me, and I accept full responsibility for every choice and decision I make. I always meet all of the obligation which I accept, and I accept no obligation which I will not meet. I'm trustworthy. I can be counted on. I have accepted winning responsibility for myself, and I always live up to the responsibilities I accept. There is no they on whom I lay the blame or with whom I share my own personal responsibility. I have learned the great secret of mastering my own destiny. I have learned that day is me. I have no need to make excuses, and no one needs to carry more responsibility for me. I gladly carry my own weight, and I carry it well. Each day I acknowledge and accept the responsibility not only for my own actions but also for my emotion, my thoughts, and my attitude. I accept the responsibility for living my life in a way which creates my strength, my happiness, my positive, healthy belief, and for my past, my present, and my future. That's a good attitude. The kind of attitude which most of us could do with a little more of. It is an attitude which gets us to stand up for ourselves and be content. It is an attitude which we can, if we choose, effect in our own lives at any time we want, but it is just one attitude of many which each of us can address and put into motion just by reconvincing ourselves, by overriding the old programming which told us that other people by some stroke of fate could more than we do. There are many such attitudes. Some of them are less lofty and perhaps not as demanding, but they are made up of perhaps the most important self-talk of all, and the self-talk of self-belief. That is what attitudes are all about. Here is an example of attitude-changing self-talk, which any of us could use from time to time. If I were ever again to teach in a classroom, I would add a lesson of this self-talk to my everyday curriculum. It is one of the most basic and primary forms of self-talk, but the attitude it can create in us touches every part of our life. It is the fabric of which all success is woven. It is the God-given right which all of us were born with and deserve to retrieve, embrace, enjoy, and possess for the rest of our life. It restores us, builds us up, it structures our character, sustains our strength, and fortifies our courage. It is the internal substance of self-belief. It is the self-talk of self-esteem. Self-talk for building self-esteem. I really am very special. I like who I am, and I feel good about myself. Although I will always work to improve myself and I get better every day, I like who I am today and tomorrow, and when I am even better, I will like myself then too. It's true that there really is no one else like me in the entire world. There never was another me before, and there will never be another me again. I'm unique from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. In some ways, I merely can act and sounds like some others, but I am not them. I am me. I wanted to be somebody, and now I know I am. I would rather be me than anyone else in the world. I like how I feel, and I like how I think, and I like how I do things. I approve of me, and I approve of who I am. I have many beautiful qualities about me. I have talents and skills and abilities. I even have talents that I don't even know about yet, and I'm discovering new talent inside myself all the time. I am positive, I am confident, and radiate good things. If you look closely, you can even see a glow around me. I'm full of life. I like life, and I'm glad to be alive. I'm a very special person living at a very special time. I'm intelligent. My mind is quick and alert and clever and fun. I think good thoughts, and my mind makes things work right for me. I have a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and vitality. I'm excited. I'm really enjoying being me. I like to be around other people, and other people like to be around me. And people like to hear what I have to say and know what I have to think. I smile a lot. I'm happy on the inside. I'm happy on the outside. I'm interested in anything. I appreciate all the blessing I have and the thing that I learn. And all the thing I will learn today and tomorrow and forever, and just as long as I am. I am warm, sincere, honest, genuine. I'm all of these things and more, and all of these things are me. I like who I am, and I'm glad to be me. What simple words are there are? That truth they will tell us about the self we contain inside of us, placed within the belief of any one individual, and the simple word possess a power which few of us have ever hoped to attain. And yet that self-belief, that sense of self-esteem is available to all of us, and can you imagine living that way each day and knowing it? Imagine children growing up with those kind of words indelibly instilled in their believing, eager young mind. Imagine the world they could create, but for today, for now, just imagine beginning to believe that very best about yourself each day, all of the time, in any circumstance, always being sure of attitude that supports you, give you faith, prop you up, and give you the courage and the conviction to live the life in its most fulfilling, most positive way. If that sounds more improbable, let me remind you that it is your old programming that tells you it can't work that way. That is because that is what it was programmed to believe, and it is wrong. Take stock of your attitudes. Look at your attitudes, assess them, examine them, then take stock of your beliefs about yourself. Take a mental inventory of your attitude, good and bad, and decide for yourself which of those attitudes work for you and which do not, and the ones you don't want to keep throughout. Get rid of them, keep the ones you like. Change the ones you want to change, take the charge of your attitude, put yourself back in control. The least that could happen is that you would get a little more of your real self back again. Start the adventure, discover the jewel and gems that are part of your own mind. Seek out and find the rich reserve of the attitude within you, which have been waiting to step out of the life again, and start talking to yourself the right away. Little changes in attitude can make a big change in life. Your attitude affects all of the important things around you. They affect how you feel about yourself. They affect your work, your friends, your loved one. When your attitudes get better, so does life. If you would like to make the change or two, fixing an attitude and making life a little better is not a bad place to start. Chapter 18: Solving Problems and Accomplishing Goals. There is a kind of self-talk which, although it has a positive effect on our habit and our attitude, it used specifically to fix problems or help us reach our goals. Problem and goals often go hand in hand. Problems are usually thought of as those things which get in the way of our goals. For a moment, replace the word problem with the word challenge, and goals create challenges and challenges create goals. The self-talk that will help you solve your problem is the same self-talk that will help you reach your goals. To the brain, overcoming problems and accomplishing goals are one and the same. To your subconscious mind, seeing yourself overcome a challenge, solving a problem, reaching a goal, exact set of direction are required, and the self-talk is the same. While I do agree that the mind looks at what we call problems and what we call goals in exactly the same way, I do not agree with those who tell us that all problems are opportunities and some problems represent potential opportunities, but not all of them. If a man with a gun in his hand were to walk at this moment and point the gun at your head, that is not an opportunity, that is a problem. Just by understanding that the subconscious mind recognizes a step and act on problem with the exact same way that it helps us reach our goals, we can change in a positive way how we look at many of those things in our life that we have been told are the natural circumstances of life, which, when overcome, automatically and naturally result in the achievement of goals, and you cannot solve a problem without reaching an objective. The true meaning of goals. If we want to talk to ourselves in the most productive way, we should also understand the true meaning of the word goal. It is a word which has been badly misused. It has been given a position of power which it does not deserve. The more deeply I delved into the literature and teaching of self-improvement, the more I began to recognize that there were a number of words in our language and which had been redefined by a small body of authors and to hold an exalted status which the words themselves were not due. As an example, even the wonderful word success too many times has been used to mean winning rather than playing, being wealthy, being number one, and or driving an expensive foreign car and living in an exclusive neighborhood. That's not what success means at all. We know that, but because we have been told time and time again what success is, many individuals who have been successful in their own way mistook that soaring definition as the correct definition as the result. They saw themselves as a failing rather than succeeding. So too has the word goal been misused, misinterpreted, and misunderstood. The word goal is a word which has become so encumbered with the priorities and demand that it makes even the thought of setting the reaching goal something of such a great importance that we gladly see it as a task which others, and possibly more dedicated than ourselves, might undertake, or something we set aside for another day when we have more time to think about it. Setting goals should be simple. There is nothing wrong with aspiring to reach this highest mountain of success, but when we set our sight on our great aspiration, we should never fail to recognize the little goal which get us there, and the goals which we set almost unconsciously, day after day, which help us survive, endure, overcome, maintain, and achieve each day, step by step. They are our wants, our needs, and our smallest expectation of ourselves. These are some of the most important goals of all. They are the goals of everyday living. Our goals should not be limited. The setting short-term, medium-term, and long-term objectives, although direct self-talk can help you reach the loftiest goal you can imagine. For most of us, being president or becoming a millionaire is not the kind of goal we deal with them on Monday morning. You may have a goal as practical as losing a little extra weight, doing better at work, getting a promotion, earning more income or saving more of what you earn, getting past depression, getting more organized, writing better business plan, or closing more sales. Your goals can be anything you choose. Goals can be as important as hours, simple as having more free time, attending church more regularly, running a better household, getting good grades, having better personal relationship, being healthier, going to the symphony, writing a letter home a little more often, doing something special for someone else, looking good for the class reunion, smiling more often, conquering your slice in golf, or catching more fish. Your goals and the problem standing between you and the goals can be anything at all, large or small. But your subconscious mind deals with all of them in the same matter of fact and accepting way. If you want to achieve them, give yourself the right direction, the right words, to take advantage of your own mind's natural dedication to do for you what you tell it must. To solve any problem or reach any goal, great or small, the internal mental process we go through is the same. If you want to be better at your job, lose weight, create wealth in your health, in your life, it is all the same to your subconscious mind. Do it one direction is the same as any other. The more programming it receives to help you reach the objective you present it with, the more it will move in that direction. To illustrate before we target a specific problem or goal, let's look at an example of some self-talk which addresses the broader area of how we look at the problem in general, and what we believe about the problem we encounter in any given day. How we look at our problem plays an important role in what we do about them, and do we analyze, avoid, confront, go around them, or solve them. It doesn't make any difference to our internal computer what the problem is or how big it is, but what we tell ourselves about our problems will affect every action we take from the moment forward. Solving problems. The following are a few words of self-talk for how to deal with the problem of solving problems. I am good at solving problems. I like challenges and meet them head on. Problems are my teachers. They help me to learn and grow. Without them, I will be going nowhere. With them, I'm moving forward in the direction of my own goals. There is no problem which I cannot conquer. I'm strong in mind, body, and spirit. My will, my strength, and my determination are always greater than any problem I face. When I meet a new problem, I do not see the problem as my enemy. I know that finding the solution to the problem will move me forward in my own personal growth, because I know that problems are the key ingredient in my spiritual and mental education and preparation. I recognize that all problems are important to me. I do not fear problems, I solve them. I do not ignore problems, I confront them. I do not avoid problems, I conquer them. I know that every problem holds within itself the keys to its own solution. Therefore, the better I understand the problem, the clearer I am able to see its solution. Having problem is not a problem for me. I'm confident, self-assured, positive, and determined. I always know that I am going to overcome any problem I encounter, and I always do. I'm good at breaking large obstacles down into smaller pieces that are easier to handle, and I never make any problem appear to be larger than actually is. I never worry. I turn worry time into positive, constructive solution time. I keep my mind alert and open to all solution, and solution comes quickly and easily to me. I have learned to recognize that many problems carry with them benefit and potential opportunity which would not have presented themselves had the problem not occurred in the first place. I do not seek to live a life which is free from all problems. Instead, I choose to live a life of finding solution and enjoy the benefit which the solution create. Challenge, conquer, solution, and win are words which I live by daily. Challenges are opportunities, conquering them is the inevitable outcome. Solution are the stepping stone to my success, and winning is my way of life. I suspect you will find this another half if that if you were to do nothing more than read that one example of self-talk script to yourself 3 or 4 times each day for a week or two. By the end of that time, you will begin to see your own problem differently, even though the problem of self-talk we have just used to not tackle a specific problem. It deals only with your general approach to looking at the problem. And all, let's be more specific. Let's identify a problem, one which for many of us has, at one time or another, stood directly in the way of reaching almost any goal we set for ourselves. The problem of being organized, managing our time and our resources in a more effective and productive way. There are a number of excellent books on the subject of managing time and becoming more organized, and think what those books could teach you or us if we first created an internal environment of organization and personal control. Before we attempt to use the technique which solves the symptom, imagine creating a new internal program which builds a new, more organized self-concept, and there are excellent systems and methods for getting organized, managing time, and being more productive, which are available to anyone who wants to take the time to read a book or two on the subject. But when you read the books on managing your time or becoming more organized, think how much better the soil of an accepting mind will be, a mind that has become pre-programmed, firmly convinced, regardless of what you might have believed in the past. To now believe that being organized is a natural way for you to be, if your goal were to organize your thoughts, your time, and your activity to get more done for you and help you reach the rest of goals you have set for yourself instead of following the old programming, it is just as easy and far more effective to use a different set of internal command. I am organized and in control of my life. I am in control of myself, my thoughts, my time, and my action, and my future. I know what to do and when to do it, and I do everything I need to do when I need to do it. I program my mind to make a maximum use of my time. I'm in control of my time and how to use it. I like being organized, efficient, and on top of things. Controlling my time keeps me that way. I never waste time. I always plan the time, and because I'm planning my time, I always have time to do the things I choose to do. Each day I become more organized and in control of all areas of my life, at home, at work, in my mind, and in my thoughts, in everything that I do. I'm very well organized. Each night I can make a list of things I need to do the next day. I set my priorities and I follow them. I am always on time. I am always right where I need to be, exactly where I need to be there. Being on time is easier for me, and the more I control my time and the more organized I become, the easier it is. I am in control of my feeling, my emotion, my attitude, and my needs. I control them. They do not control me. I have the winning vote in the outcome of my own action, and I choose to live my life by choice, not change. Therefore, I take the time to take control. I have the unorganized and orderly mind because I think in an organized way. I conduct my life in an organized manner. I think in the most positive and productive way at all times and in all things. The way I think is the way I live, and I think right. I am the director of my destiny. I know where I am going and I know why I'm going there. My earthly life is in my hands and in my control. I control my goals and the achievement of my goals. I organize my goals by writing each of them down along with the step I need to reach them. One of the reasons for my success is that my goals are clearly defined and organized. I am in complete control of what I think and how I think. Therefore, I choose to think only those thoughts which help me and which are of genuine benefit to me. Even after years of using self-talk for myself, by writing, reading, recording, listening to, and putting self-talk into practice, and by talking with other people who use the same kind of self-talk for themselves, I am still impressed with the value and importance of its directness. The more simple and the point of your self-talk is, the better it works. When I was working on the cassette tapes for self-talk of weight loss, the importance of using explicit direct wording proved to be essential. While writing the actual self-talk for the problem of losing weight and keeping it off permanently, I identified 14 individual subject areas of self-talk, each of which was vital to the one specific problem I was writing about. The list of weight loss subjects included such areas as getting started, mentally, willpower, being healthy, feeling good, and sitting down to eat, controlling between meal and snack, hiding behind your weight, getting past weight loss barrier, and keeping weight off. Each of the 14 subject areas covered require a necessary and important self-talk script that deal directly with that one important area of the problem. Each of the script was written to deal with every part and facet of that area of the problem. The individual script covered all of the detail which had contributed to creating the overall problem. The importance of this is that your own personal self-talk should be simple, but it must be direct, and it must deal with every facet of the problem or goal you are working on. To give you an example of how explicit and direct the right kind of self-talk should be, I will give you a view of the actual self-talk self-directions from just one of those 14 self-talk scripts that were written for the subject of weight loss. This particular segment deals with a problem and a goal that everyone who has ever had a problem with weight has had to deal with at one time or another. The problem of sitting down to eat, it begins with the important self-direction of being in control and then dives into the detail of the problem. I am in control of myself in every way, at all times, in all situations. Each time I sit down to eat, I affirm my determination to achieve my goal. By eating right and never giving in, I'm reaching the weight I want. Whether eating in or eating out, I really enjoy eating less. I never feel the need to finish the food in front of me. I eat only what I should and never one bite more. One way to weight loss that's easy and works, it's less food on my plate and less on my fork. By ordering less when I eat out and by serving myself smaller portion at home, I keep myself aware of the importance of staying with my goals, and each and every day a less on my plate means less on my waist. When I sit down to eat, at no time do I allow anyone else to influence, attempt, or discourage me in any negative way. What I eat and the goals I reach are up to me, and I give no one the right to hinder or control my success. Although the other may benefit from my success, I'm achieving my weight loss goals for my own personal reasons. For myself, my life, my future, and my own personal well-being. I never at any given tempted to take one bite more than I should. I'm strong, I'm capable of reaching my goal, and I'm doing it. Being in a situation which put a lot of food in front of me is not a problem to me now. I simply say no to the food and yes to my success. I enjoy sitting down to eat. It's time I conquer my past and I create a dreamer, happier, more self-confident future in front of me. When I sit down to eat, I do not need someone else to remind me of my goal or to keep me from eating something I should not. I take full responsibility for myself, and no one else has to do it for me. Controlling my weight and my appetite is easy for me now. I enjoy smaller portions, smaller bites, and slower, healthier, more relaxed way of eating. I have set my goals and I'm staying with it. I have turned mealtime into achievement time. That is the kind of healthy new self-talk which, when practiced even for a short period of time, begins to automatically step in to replace this earlier self-talk which kept us from reaching the goal we wanted to reach. Once you become conditioned to making that simple shift in what you say to yourself, the new self-directions come without thinking about them. Be specific and fix the problem. The key to good self-talk is that it covers the problem and it gets specific. Broad, generalized affirmation of well-being are fine when you are working on creating a broad, generalized attitude. But when you want to fix the problem, fix the problem. When you want to achieve precise goals, even the little ones, give yourself precise command. And that is why the idea of repeating affirmation to yourself has made sense, but the words which are so often used to construct the self-talk of affirmation have, in the past, too often dealt with the general concept instead of precise, immediate programming which would have a direct effect on our habits, attitudes, problems, and goals each day. A few years ago, when I was writing an encyclopedia of positive self-talk, a good friend of mine sent me a self-talk affirmation tapes. The tapes had been recorded by a gentleman who was obviously a fine and dedicated spiritual individual. His type spoke at length of wholeness and oneness with a great universal truth which exists within us. I listened to those tapes for several hours. I listened to every word and thought. I even agree with the principle which inspired them. But I did not hear one word of direction which would tell my subconscious mind what to do about anything. I did not follow the organization and the fate which teach those marvelous, wonderful ideals for our minds to clutch and hold on to. The people of this faith are some of the best self-talkers in this planet. But if you want to live your life to change, get specific. If you are a supporter of the power of affirmation, keep your motive high, but let your feet step down to touch the earth we are standing on. Those of us whose dream it is to improve our life, even in small way, can do so. If you want to solve a problem, or reach any goal, learn to give yourself the most precise and complete direction you can master. If you have a problem, tackle it, but in the process, have a conversation with yourself. If you have a goal, no matter what it is, give yourself detailed instructions that tell you exactly what you want, and then stand back and get out of the way. Your expectations are about to happen. Chapter 19. Internal Motivation. There is an energy which can create either motion or immobility in our life. It is an energy which comes to us in the form of love, fear, joy, anger, passion, or despair. It comes to us as ecstasy, concern, pride, jealousy, desire, grief, compassion, or elation. These are our emotions. These are our motivators and our demotivators. They set us in motion or they stop us in our track. They are the fires which infuse our life with action or burn us out in the smoldering embers of submission. Earlier, I gave you the example of manager who attempt to change the employer's attitude by using the carrot of stick method. I pointed out that using this method does not change attitude. What it does do is to use natural emotions such as desire or fear, which are already within us, to temporarily motivate the individual into action. How do we corral our emotion motivators to work for us? How do we pull the best out of ourselves and others and help put the best into practice? In the previous chapter, we discussed popular motivation technique using outside motivation, and now let's get down to the specific of how to use self-talk to motivate yourself. The most common form of motivation is the external kind, when we rely on something outside of us to pat us on the back and nudge us, persuade us, or kick us in the behind to get us to go ahead and do what we already knew we should be doing in the first place. External motivation does not necessarily come from a supportive friend who encourages you to do your best. Many of our external motivators are not even human, and when it comes right down to it, they really don't care whether we make it or not. To illustrate the point, let me give you a few examples of external motivators which do more than guide and direct us. These are the motivators that demand our attention and they insist on our most appropriate response. The boss, the bank loan, the mortgage payment, the dinner next Friday we agreed to go but didn't want to attend, the orthodontist, the pile of unfinished paperwork on the desk, a midterm exam, a favorite television program, the utility bill, or the ball game on Saturday, whether at first glance they appear to be or not. And these are all motivators, and most of them could be called positive motivators. After all, they get us to pay their rent, get to work on time, keep up with our social requirements, take care of the family, and even give us some free time for ourselves. The positive push. The best motivators, of course, the ones we like the most, are the motivators which get us to extend ourselves, achieve a little more, reach our goals, and live a better life. This usually come by way of someone telling us that we are capable of many great things, that we can conquer any obstacle, reach any goal. Motivational speakers are especially good at saying that sort of thing, but as much as we might enjoy being told how terrific we are by someone else, every form of external motivation is short-lived, no matter how demanding, exciting, or encouraging it might be. What all of this amount to is that all of us have a lot of motivation and a lot of motivators. The question is, who is in control? Are you taking the responsibility for keeping yourself up and going, Or are you letting big circumstances of daily living assume that the responsibility for you? Are you carefully deciding what motivates you and what does not? And most important of all, are you being motivated by outside influence, or are you yourself the single most motivating factor in your own life? If you would like to be in control of the forces in your life which influence and affect everything you do, then you most certainly would like to be in control of your own motivation. That would imply that you would like to motivate yourself in the best possible way, a way in which you can give yourself the strong, attention-getting, consistent, reliable, and effective motivation you need. That kind of motivation you will never get from anyone but yourself. The only kind of motivation which we can ever be sure of is the motivation that is created within us, internal motivation. It is the kind of motivation which does not require the aid or anyone else, any assistance or support with someone or something else doing the real motivating for us. Self-motivation is the motivation which comes from having a sense of pure purpose, or a sense of self-esteem and self-determination. Something everyone needs. It doesn't make any difference what we do for a living or what are we doing in our life right now. All of us need motivation. Whether you are a salesperson, athlete, manager, or employee, the amount of motivation you have can make the difference between reaching your goals and or falling short. Your motivation affects your position, your income, your determination, your result. Like your attitude, your motivation affects everything you do. Even if you are not in a competitive field, you still need motivation to keep you up and keep you going. I have known parents who have run out of motivation when it came to raising their families. They ran out of esteem. A motivated clergyman inspires more of his congregation than does a clergyman who has lost his inspiration himself. A student who is highly motivated to get a good grades will spend more time studying than a student who is motivated only to get by. All of us need motivation of one kind or another from the moment we arise in the morning to the moment we nod off to sleep at night. In fact, it could safely be said that the only time we do not need to be motivated is when we are sleeping, resting, but going nowhere. The problem is that the most of us learn to rely on external motivation when we should be learning self-reliance instead. People who are the most successful at whatever they do are those who are their own best motivators. They stand on their own feet, walk in the direction of their own choosing, and put themselves in charge of their own successes. To motivate someone, anyone to do anything, you must influence his emotion. In fact, there are many motivational physiologists who believe that you can never really motivate anyone else to do something they will not internally agree to do. Since our emotions are our motivators, the emotion must be changed or redirected before the motivation can take place. The same is true of motivating yourself. Instead of relying on any outside source to help us motivate ourselves, think how much better it would be if we could always rely on ourselves for that same motivation. If we learn the right word to use when we talk to ourselves, we can easily learn to give ourselves the motivation we need anytime we need it. The first example of self-talk from self-motivation is the kind of self-talk that is designed to get us emotionally up. It talks to you about you in a way that gets you moving, while it supports that motivation with self-talk that gives you extra belief in yourself. You are not only programming yourself to meet the challenge, you are also giving yourself the extra assurance of the added belief that you can add and that you can and will accomplish the task you are setting out to do. This is self-talk that anyone can use at any time. It's not specific to any one area of self-motivation, making more sales, getting up on time, scoring point in the basketball game, or getting catch up on your paperwork, but it will work for all of this and more. And this is self-talk that will give your subconscious mind a new set of directions which will help you motivate yourself in any area of your life. I can do anything I believe I can do. I have got it, and every day I get more of it. I have talents, skills, and ability. I set goals and I reach them. I know what I want out of life. I go after it and I get it. People like me and I feel good about myself. I have a sense of pride in who I am and I believe in myself. Nothing seems to stop me. I have a lot of determination. I turn problem into advantages. I find possibilities in things that other people never give a chance. I have a lot of energy. I'm very alive. I enjoy life. And I can tell it, and so can others. I keep myself up, looking ahead and liking it. I know that I can accomplish anything I choose, and I refuse to let anything get negative hold me back or stand in my way. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I have strange power, conviction, and confidence. I like it challenges and I meet them head on, face to face. Today especially, I'm on top of the world and I'm going for it. I have a clear picture in my mind of what I want. I can see it in front of me. I know what I want and I know how to get it. I know that it's all up to me and I know I can do it. Roadblocks don't bother me. They just mean that I'm alive and running and I'm not going to stand still for anything. I trust myself. I have got what it takes, plenty of it, and I know how to use it. And today, more than ever, today I'm unstoppable. I have got myself together. I'm getting more together every day. And today, look at world. Here I come. Limitations? I don't even recognize them as limitation. There is no challenge I can't conquer. There is no wall I can't climb over. There is no problem I can't defeat or turn around and make it work for me. I stand tall. I'm honest and sincere. I like to deal with people and they like me. I think well. I think clearly. I'm organized. I'm in control of myself. I'm everything about me. I call my shots, and no one has to call them for me. I never blame anyone else for the circumstances of my life. I accept my failings and moving past them as easily as I accept the reward for my victories. I never demand perfection of myself, but I expect the very best of what I have to give, and that's what I get. I never give myself excuses. I get things done on time and in the right way. Today I have the inner strength to do more than ever. I am an exceptional human being, and my goals and my incredible belief in myself turns my goal into reality. I have the power to live my dreams. I believe in them and like I believe in myself, and that belief is so strong that there is nothing that diminishes my undefeatable spirit. Try reading that to yourself in front of the mirror each morning for the next few days. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had someone who believed in us so much that every day we could count on being told this incredible, motivating truth about ourselves? If we had that, we would certainly have the truest and best friend we could ever find. The truth is, of course, we do have that friend. Each of us does, and right up here inside ourselves. All we have to do is ask, and our friend will be there, without fail, anytime, in any circumstance. Giving life to your self-doubt. When you first read these new words of self-belief and self-motivation, they can lie there on the page, looking like no much more than quietly reassuring inspirational thoughts. Bring them to life, pull them off the page, shot them out of to yourself if you have to, but grab them, hold on to them, and make them your own. If you are by yourself, stop for a moment, turn back a page or two and reread those same words, and this time out loud. Give yourself permission to suspend your disbelief, set your doubts aside for just a few moments, speak to yourself as if you were the single most important person in the world. Don't worry if at first you feel strange or uncomfortable talking to yourself in a new way. Unless you are already a practiced self-talker, it should feel a little strange. After all, you are giving your old programming quite a shock. It is probably not used to hearing a non-stop description of an incredible new you. And the more you do that, the easier, the more natural it will become. In not too long, even that your old programming may try to fight you for a time. It may even try to make you feel foolish and get you to stop. If you keep doing it, the new force will win out. If while you are reading this and you cannot privately say the new command to yourself out loud, go back and reread the self-talk silently, and this time word for word. Tell yourself to listen. Look at the picture in your mind that see yourself actually being individual you are describing to yourself. Self-talk is not just a few lines of encouraging word printed in the pages of a book. When you apply self-talk to you, those same words take life. The moment you begin to speak them or read them and consciously internalize them, they take on a personal meaning and life of their own, and they play a role that could become important to every part of your life. They are that best friend, that part of you which is telling you the truth about yourself. If you are going to shock your subconscious with the new words, the new kind of self-talk, you might as well give it a full dose. Instead of ever letting the motivators in your life weaken you or bring you to your knees, even for a moment, kick them out, stand up, face them, point to the door, and tell them to get out of your life. You are through with them, and you don't need them any longer. Stop them in their track, overpower them. Just when your subconscious think you are through, don't let up. Give it some more, and this time stop by making the conscious decision to demand that the internal you listens very carefully. I know that greatness begins in the minds of the great. I know that what I believe about myself is what I will become. So I believe in the best for myself. I'm practical and realistic, and I keep my feet on solid ground, but I also give myself the freedom to live up to my fullest expectations. I never limit myself by the short-sighted belief of others. Instead, I open myself up to the broad horizon of unlimited possibility. When someone says I cannot answer, I answer why not? When someone says it's impossible, I answer that nothing is any more impossible than I believe it to be. And I truly believe that with my individual fortress of faith, with me, anything is possible. I have drive, spirit, stamina, and endurance. I have a good, strong, winning attitude about myself and about everything I do. I'm practical and realistic. But I also believe in the best possible outcome of any situation. If I have ever had any doubt about myself in the past, today is a good day to put them aside. It's a good day to throw out any disbelief that ever held me back. I know that I am headed in the right winning direction, and I look forward and never look back. I have the ability to focus on one thing at a time. So I concentrate my attention on the job at hand, and I get it done. Today is one of those days when nothing can stand in my way. When I need extra determination, I have got it. When I need more energy and drive, I've got it. I've got the power to get it done, and the patience to see it through, no matter what the job or challenge may be. Right now, even while I'm telling myself this truth about me, I know that I can succeed, and I am succeeding. At this moment, if I think of any challenge in front of me, I know that I will become even more a winner because of it. I keep my chin up, my head held high. I look at something and feel like I'm the winner I am. Anytime your problems start to get me down, I get myself right back up. I tackle problems and solve them. When frustration or defeat threatens me, I just become that much stronger, more positive, better organized, and more determined than ever. Right now, today, this very moment, I'm capable of giving myself the gift of absolutely self-assurance, self-belief, and powerful non-stop confidence in myself. No matter what it is that requires the very best of me, I can do it, and I know I can. Today is a great day and have got what it takes, so I choose to do it right, do it well. I choose to live the day with joy and love. I know it's all up to me 100%. Every bit of it, all of it, it is in how I look at it and what I do about it. And that's what winning is. That's why I am a winner. I set my sights, keep my balance. I don't hesitate, I don't hold back. I know that the world is full of opportunity. Look at what I do, look at where I can go, look at what I can do just by saying yes to myself. Just look at what I can do today. I'm incredible, and today is a great day to show it. It is easy to see how that kind of self-direction can be rewarded to apply specifically to any part of your life that needs to be motivated. Olympic athletes use self-talk to motivate themselves to gold medal performances. Even some high school and professional athletes use self-talk in exactly the same way and with the same winning result. The word change, but the message and the internal motivation it creates is the same. We still need the team captain and the coach, but with the right kind of self-talk, we make their jobs and the winning achievement we create a whole lot easier. I doubt that I could find a single coach who would not jump at the chance to have an entire team with self-motivated, self-talkers. Dozens of sport organizations already use self-talk technique. When used correctly, the result is the kind of superior performance that creates a winning team. Getting up when things get down. Another example of a profession which has already begun to adopt the concept of self-talk for internal motivation is sales field. I mentioned earlier that salespeople need to maintain a constant attitude of self-belief because of the number of times they are turned down. Every time the competition wins, someone else loses. In the mind of a salesperson who lost the sale, that loss represents a failure. Because of this, the field of self creates the largest demand for skilled professional motivators. I recommend that those organizations which rely on salespeople to present and sell their product or services and self-talk training to their existing training program. It is an easy step to take, but its effect can be profound. Although you may not be in the management or occupation of selling, you probably know that each of us relies on selling ourselves or our ideas nearly every day of our adult lives. If you are in a management or sales position, read this next example of self-talk carefully. But even if you are not in the field of professional sales, notice how much of the self-talk for selling applies equally as well to the times in your life when you want to influence or persuade someone else to your way of thinking or to do something that you want to do. There are 12 individual areas of selling, each of which has its own set of self-talk, and they include such a subject as prospecting, making the presentation, overcoming objection internally, follow through, and keeping yourself up when the chips are down. For this example, however, I will combine the various areas and show you just a few samples which are representative of self-talk for selling. I begin each day with a clear mind and specific plan to get the most from my time and my effort. I follow my plan and reach my goals. An accurate description of me would include the words professional, hardworking, qualified, skillful, energetic, enthusiastic, organized, determined, and highly successful. I am good at persuading others to my point of view. That is because I first and always recognize and understand the point of view of individual to whom I'm presenting my ideas, my product, or my service. I know how to listen, and I have learned to hear not only the words which are being said, but also listen to the unspoken thoughts which lie behind them. I'm always prepared. I take the time to do it right. In everything I do, I'm prepared, confident, self-assured, and successful. I always take care of the detail in my work. I enjoy the detail of selling, and I always tend to them on time and with a full of attention. I keep myself up. I know that making good sales presentation means keeping myself up, energetic and in control. That is exactly the way I am, and my sales presentation are always professional and effective. I'm always sincere and honest. I believe that all achievement in selling begins with trust, skill, and determination. I ask for the order frequently and without hesitation. At every buying signal, I ask for the order and I close. Being told no never bothers me. Instead, hearing the word no doubles my determination and adds to my positive enthusiasm. Given the technical skill to match the salesperson who mentally becomes the individual we have just described, even in those few short self-directed would undoubtedly rank high on the list of sales achievers for any sales organization. Having worked with many salespeople in the past, I have all too often heard quite the opposite kind of self-talk. Because of our own past programming, it is all too easy to slip into using the old self-talk demotivators of complaint, excuses, and doubt. All of the reason necessary to place the blame for failure and underachievements on someone or something else, the sales manager, the company, the commission structure, or the solve today problems by avoiding the instead of igniting the spark of self-belief to many salespeople, just like many of us in our own career, solve the day's problem by avoiding the action we know we should take. Instead of spending a few minutes engaged in highly productive activity of motivating ourselves to take action, we engage ourselves in talking ourselves out of action into having another cup of coffee. The light that never fails. We can learn to motivate ourselves. We can learn to become self-starters, doers, or achievers. To do that, take less time and less training than any other kind of motivational development I have ever encountered. We all need to begin, and our inner self, the part of us that wants to achieve, will soon begin to follow the new lead which we are giving it. There is a vital part of each of us that is anxiously waiting for us to tell it that it's okay to go ahead and achieve, and that's what it wanted to do all along. All it needed was a few new words, and there is a sleeping giant within us. It seeks and needs the light that never fails and motivation that comes from us. If we feed it each day in this right away, it will become a part of us which will conquer our fears, slay the dragon, and carry us on to our victories. It is a magical genie of untold power, impatiently waiting for its release. It is the essential, self-fulfilling part of each of us. It has been waiting a long time for us to tell it what to do. Go ahead, indulge yourself, give yourself an exciting retreat, and let the giant loose tomorrow morning. Wake it up. Chapter 20. Situational Self-Talk. Making an instant adjustment. Driving yourself to distraction, the chemical of stress, conscious action or uncontrolled reaction, the situation cycle, and making the best of less than the best. Endless opportunities to break or make your day. It is as it is. The next situation is a change to respond. Chapter 21. Getting Started. I have found that after learning about self-talk and understanding its use, people will fall into one of three general categories. A. Those who actively pursue a plan of action to put the principle of self-talk to work. They address the possibility of using their new form of self-talk with dedication and anticipation. They make it a conscious and active part of their goals and achievement path. B. Those who accept the basic principle of self-talk and adapt this principle into their life in a casual, non-specific way. They apply the concept of self-talk, but they do not actively work at developing them. Rather, they simply apply them as they see fit and allow them to work. C. Those who do not about it and gain nothing from it. If you are in one of the first two categories, I will offer some suggestions which will help you to get the most from the self-talk principle we have discussed. It is one thing to learn about something. It is quite another thing to put something that is learned into practice. Let us say that there is a part of your mind which wants you to move forward, to get ahead, both in your external world and inside yourself. If that is the case, there are several things you can do to begin put self-talk into practice beginning now, and most of the steps are easy to do. Some will take a little more work. Whether you do any of them or all of them, you will benefit from the effort. A few practical steps. We discussed earlier that if something is not simple, it will not work. I will make the steps as simple and as practical as possible, and no one expects you to move mountain in the day, but no one who cares about you at all would expect you to sit still and do nothing. So I will suggest some steps that you can take. If you do not follow any of them, your result will be minor. If you give them your best effort and add some of the personal enthusiasm and determination which I know you have, you will create in your life new and exciting adventures. You will open doors, seek new opportunity, conquer new challenge, and achieve new reward. You will accomplish things which few others ever dream of. You will do things that no one else can ever do for you. If you have been a student of achievement, this work should sound familiar. They echo the promises of gurus and motivators. They offer you, if you will only follow their system and use the winning technique, the motivation to succeed, even if the motivation and the success is temporary. This is where learning to use self-talk makes a vital difference. I will give you some practical ideas and you can try them for yourself. But I will not offer you some ultimate system of success. No one can give you that. And that you must give to yourself. I suggest only that you take back the control of your own personal mental computer. Take the keyboard back. Program it for yourself. Shape your life in the form of your own choosing and accept the result with a secure knowledge of having done it for yourself. When you begin to change the directions, the thoughts that you give to your own subconscious mind, you are putting yourself back in control. If you stay with it, you will become your own person. No one else will ever be able to take you away from you. Become aware of the influence of media talk. For the next 7 days, listen to what we call media talk, and that's programming you are receiving from radio, television, the daily newspaper, magazines, and etc. You will also hear an edited and usually subjective version of media talk when you listen to self-talk of other people around you. The important thing to remember while you are observing and collecting a sample of media talk is how you respond to the media talk programming you are receiving. The reason for this step is to acquaint you with something called external influence. We all know what it means, but we seldom sit down and think about the effect it has in our life. Have you ever considered how many things you do because you felt obliged to do them? Your greatest responsibility. The more aware you become of all the persuasion and conditioning which go on in your life, the easier it will be for you to recognize them for what they are and do something about them. It's a healthy idea to stop now and then ask yourself the question, who is in control here? Once you're aware of how programming works and where it comes from, who do you suppose is responsible for what is programmed into your own mind? You are, of course. To some people, this is burdensome responsibility, but think of freeing it can be. Creating your own thoughts and determining the direction of your own future is the most important personal responsibility you will ever have. And taking that responsibility will give you more control over your own life than you have ever have had before. Once you are aware of the self-talk around you, both from others and from yourself, it is only natural that you might want to take personal control over the self-talk in your future. And the next step is to begin creating self-talk for yourself. Chapter 22. Creating your own self-talk. The best way to begin practicing using self-talk is to create a new self-talk for yourself. To show you how easy this can be, you might like to take a few minutes and try the short self-talk script on something very simple, or you can do this exercise in your head. When I wrote the complete book of self-talk, I addressed 52 specific areas of self-talk that related directly to daily life. At home, on the job, dealing with ourselves internally, dealing with other people in our life, reaching goals, and personal growth. In that book, I wrote out complete word for word self-talk script for each of those 52 areas of daily living, and the book was designed to be a ready reference manual for anyone who wanted to immediately begin using self-talk in literally any area of life and have word for word self-talk instantly available for job, home, family, goals, problems, and individuals' potential. In writing that book, I researched, identified, collected, and carefully rewrote more than 1,400 self-talk phrases and self-suggestion. In the process, I learned that there is no thought which, although it may have worked against us in the past, cannot be rewarded into a self-direction which worked for us. Our self-talk is never exclusive. It includes anything and everything we will ever think about, and any of it or all of it can be rephrased to work a little or a lot better for us. Direct self-talk for every subject. When you begin rephrasing your own self-talk, you can choose any subject that comes to mind and cover it with the right kind of self-talk. I will give you some examples to help you get started. Earlier, I suggested that you make a list of 10 phrases of negative self-talk which you have used in the past. It is sometimes surprising to learn how easy it is, with a little practice, to turn those phrases around. Any negative self-talk phrase you use can be turned into positive self-talk. In a short time, you will find that using them the right way is just as easy and will come just as naturally to you as using them the old way. Let's take a few examples of the kind of self-talk phrases that we would find on a typical list of negative self-talk. This may not be the same example that you have used for yourself, but the way you turn any of them around will work the same way as the examples we will use. Here is a sample list of negative self-talk. These examples may not be the same comment you make to yourself, and they may not represent the same problems or opportunities you face, but they should be familiar. Number 1. Things are not going very well for me at work. I just can't seem to communicate with my son anymore. I have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Today has been a tough day. I really need to get more exercise. I would like to put more money into saving, but I just don't seem to be able to. I wish I had more time. Think back to the self-talk script we discussed in the preceding chapter. If you have written out examples of your own negative self-talk, you can now write them again, a different way, in a positive, and in most cases, in the present tense. If you haven't written a list, think about the example of negative self-talk that come to mind and mentally do the something, reward them. Example 1. The self-statement. Things are not going very well for me at work. Can easily be changed to, I enjoy my work, I understand the problems, and I get past them. Example 2. Program your subconscious with the self-defeating words. I just can't seem to communicate with my son anymore. Can just easily be rephrased into a new self-program. I take the time to listen, talk, and communicate. I'm patient and understanding. It's worth working at, and I do. Example 3. Telling yourself that you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning certainly won't help you get out of bed any faster or easier. Every time the thought comes up, change the words to, it's easier for me to get out of bed in the morning. I get up and I get at it. Repeat that to yourself for a few days or for as long as it takes. Eventually you will override the old program that made it tough for you to get up in the first place. Keep in mind that changing just one or two phrases is not going to make a sweeping change in your life. If you want to make some change as many of the old phrases as you can find. The more of the old self-talk you change, the more often you use the new self-talk when you talk to yourself about the subject, the better you will do at making the change and making it permanent. Example 4. Instead of ever again telling yourself today has been a tough day, think about what that tells your subconscious. If you are telling yourself that just because it was a difficult day, it must have been a bad day, it can only make you feel less than successful that day, and all that does not is convince your subconscious mind that you have failed. Repeating anything that implies to your subconscious that you have failed will only convince it that failing is the pattern it should create. You don't have to pretend that the day was wonderful, but it is not necessary to convince yourself that the day was a disaster either. You work hard and not everything worked on the way you wanted it to. Give yourself a break, receive the thought, today was fine, I feel good about myself, and tomorrow will be even better. And that's not ignoring the problem of or the hard work, it's simply putting you back on top. Example 5. If you would really like to get yourself in a better physical shape, but haven't gotten around to doing something about it, telling yourself, I really need to get more exercise, will only help you put it off. I like the self-talk phrase, I exercise every day. I would add the few supporting phrase like, I enjoy exercising and I really like how it makes me feel. I like keeping myself in shape mentally and physically. I look good and I feel good, and daily exercise keeps me that way. I look forward each day to exercising my body, exercising my mind, and keeping myself fit and winning. Example 6. I would like to put more money into saving, but I just don't seem to be able to. It's the kind of money self-talk that many of us have used. Using it doesn't help a bit, it does just the opposite. It creates financial insecurity. We can just as easily program ourselves to be financially insolvent, get by or get ahead. Having enough or having a little extra means a lot of the most people, but we were taught to tell ourselves the exact opposite of what we need to hear to make it work. I am good at earning what I need, and more, I'm good at saving money. Every month, without fail, I put something aside each week, each month, and each year I become financially secure. Give your mind the right direction, the right challenge, and it will work. Just as hard to make the things work for you as it has worked to hold you back. Your subconscious mind has not found it difficult to make things start financially. It just did that what you told it to do. If you don't make the change, neither will it. If you want to build a better financial base, have a talk with your subconscious. Tell it to do what you want it to do, and the result may not come overnight, but they will come. Example 7. Change the words I wish I had more time to the words I make time and I take time to do what I need to do. Almost no one has no time not to spare. Even the busiest people can find the time they need to do what they truly choose to do. The problem usually comes up when we forget what we have some choice in how we spend our time. If not having enough time is a problem, I would also add, I am responsible for choosing when, where, and how I spend my time, and I choose to spend my time in a way that creates the greatest benefits in my life. Those few words of self-talk, spoken often enough at every opportunity, put you back in control. The result may be that you read a book on managing your time and put the ideas you get into practice. You may find yourself taking a fewer commitment, saying no more often, rearranging your schedule, or wasting less time and spending more time doing the thing you would like to get done. That's how self-talk works. It gives your subconscious mind a specific set of direction and tells it to go to work on the problem. If you feed the right direction, it will come up with the right solution. Those are just a few examples of how we can turn our words around in the specific self-talk phrases. Anytime we would like to go. Given some thought, most of us could come up with a dozen of examples of our own. Each of them can be rewarded in the same way. I found that it helps to write the old words down on paper. It makes it easier to see why it hasn't worked when you read it back to yourself. If you have a problem area or an area of opportunity we would like to work on, try writing it up. Self-talk checklist. Number 1. Is your self-talk stated in the present tense? Always state your self-talk in the present tense, like I am, it is, blah blah blah. This is true of every form of self-talk other than situational self-talk, which was discussed in the chapter 20. In all other forms of self-talk, the image you are creating for your subconscious mind should be a completed picture of you already having accomplished the objective. Is it specific? Be specific, state the detail, cover every possible facet of the problem or goal, and focus the direction lead to the focused results. The more specific you are, the more specific the direction you will be giving yourself. Number 3, does it get the job done without creating any unwanted side effect? Always add self-talk which direct you to achieve your objective in a healthy and beneficial way. I recall the story of a woman who told herself she would do anything necessary to lose 35 pounds. It worked. She became ill with an apparently unrelated illness, went into the hospital, and lost the weight. It is fun to tell yourself that nothing will stop you from reaching your goal, whatever it is. But it is a good idea to add a few words of additional programming which tells your subconscious that you will reach that goal in a safe and worthwhile way. Your subconscious mind is an incredibly powerful goal-achieving mechanism. Programmed strongly enough, it will do anything necessary to help you achieve your goals. Unless you tell it what to do, it doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. Make sure the words you give yourself tell your subconscious mind to get the job done in a way that is healthy and beneficial for all concerned. Number 4, is it easy to use? Good self-talk is a simple self-talk. It should be easy to recall and use anytime you need it. If it is not, you won't use it. Use simple words which paint clear pictures. Number 5, is it practical? This does not mean that you cannot use self-talk to have your dreams and turn them into reality, but the vision you create for yourself should be planted in a good solid ground. If you program yourself to achieve the impossible, you will create frustration and failure, scratch your limits, reach for your highest expectation, and tell yourself that you can achieve the best. You can even go beyond what you once thought you could attain. And you should, but don't start demanding miracle of yourself until you have learned how to fix some of the everyday problems and reach some readily attainable goals. If you get really good, there will be a time enough for miracle later. Number 6, is it personal and is it honest? When you are talking to yourself, talk to yourself and don't beat around the bush. One of the prime reasons for changing our old self-talk is in the new is to give yourself a better way to deal with the fact where you have been and where you are going, who you thought you were and who you really would like to be. The only way to stop yourself from reliving the roadblocks that have stopped you in the past is to be honest about them. See them for what they are or were, and take stock of yourself as you are now and set your sights on how you would like to become. Number 7. Does your self-talk ask enough of you? Just as it is important for each of us to keep our feet on the ground, it is important to expect from ourselves the best that we have to offer. Your self-talk should motivate you to go for the challenge, overcome the odds, and emerge the victor. Since the subconscious mind does not know the difference between victory and defeat, it just acts on the impulse we give it. We might as well become winners in life instead of accepting anything less. Make sure your own self-talk demands the best of you, whether our goals are as simple as dealing with a daily problem or as exalted as making an important change in the direction of our lives. There is no reason to accept anything less than the greatest potential that each of us has within us. Your own individual self-talk should be a reflection of the greatest potential that you already hold within you. Never ever sell yourself as short. Make sure your self-talk reaches in, grabs hold, and pulls the best out of you. When you write or use self-talk in any form, keep this checklist in mind. If your own self-talk follows those guidelines instead of ever having to worry about programming yourself in the wrong way, you can rest assured that you will be giving yourself the right direction and you will be setting yourself up for getting the right result. If you are not prone to sitting down and writing things out, you can achieve positive results just by becoming conscious of your own past self-talk and changing it accordingly. But deciding which new self-talk direction to use will be easier if you write them out, and if you write out of a few simple self-talk scripts which are written just for you, it will also make it easier for you to attempt and succeed at and recording your self-suggestion on tape. The outside voice of encouragement and authority. Don't worry about how you may feel your own voice sounds on a tape recording. Self-talk cassette work better when the voice on the tape is someone's other than your own. We tend to believe someone else telling us good things about ourselves before we believe ourselves. We grew up listening to the outside voices of authority. We were conditioned to accept what someone else told us more than we were conditioned to accept our own opinions about ourselves. That is one of the things that becoming a self-directed self-talker changes, but for now, an outside voice works better when you record your new self-talk and list the aid of the trusted friend or associate, someone whose opinion you already value. Ask that friend to read your self-talk script on the tape. After even a short time of listening to a self-talk cassette, the voice you are hearing on the tape will become an inner voice, and you will begin to hear yourself talking to you internally instead of paying attention to the actual recorded voice you are listening to. Keep your self-talk tapes short, about 18 to 22 minutes, and self-talk tapes should be designed to be used frequently, not occasionally, in one long sitting. Chapter 23. To change or not to change. At this moment or at some time in the future, you may make the decision to make a change, and let me give you a few words of encouragement. It is likely that you already know what you would like to do. If that is the case, if your innermost mind tells you that it is time, then it is time. When the Shakespeare wrote the words to be or not to be, he may not even know that he touched the essence of self. To be or not to be, that is the questions. To become or not to become, to achieve or not to achieve, to do or not to do. The answer to that questions is the answer which will determine the future and the success. Each of us. It's a good idea to take stock of our progress. It is healthy to ask ourselves how well we are doing. We have the right and the need to gauge, judge, assess our own forward motion. Are we getting anywhere or are not we? Are we getting by or are we doing the best that we can? Are we doing what we want to do or we would like to do something else, something better? Do we have ever part do we have every part of ourselves in line and in tune with our finest expectation, or would we like to make a change or two? Most of us have changes we would like to make in our life. There are times when we want to make a small change, something that will help us do something differently or deal with something in a better way than we dealt with it in the past. There are other times when we would like to make a sweeping change out with the old and in with the new. If making life work is as simple as making a few changes, why don't you do it? Would you like to make a change? I have known people who wanted nothing more than to fix a problem at work or at home, or wanted to change some small thing about themselves or in their lives that will help them grow or make a life a little easier. I have also known people who were fed up with everything. They wanted to change their lives in a major way, different job, new husband or wife, sell out and move into another state. They wanted to do whatever it would take to change their life and change their futures. I have known people who tried to change their life by changing their homes, cars, or careers, but for the most of them, the changes was not a real change. It didn't work. They took their own old selves with them. Changes the heart of are as fragile as temporary as changes of costumes in a play. We can change friends, spouses, job location, and we will still take the same inner self along with us. The same internal identities which made us unhappy help us or got us into trouble in the first place. If we take the old images of ourselves with us, how wherever we go and into whatever we do, how could we expect to do better the next time we try? If we want to make any important change in our beliefs, attitude, emotion, behavior, action, or results, we should at the outside decide who is in command and who or what is in control of the changes that take place. How would you identify the changes that are happening in your life? Are they the result of accident, destiny, circumstance, or personal decision? Change occurs either as a result of something outside of you that happens to you, or as a result of something within yourself which causes the change to take place. Change created by external influences. With this kind of changes, there is no major psychological impact which alert us to the fact that the change is happening. There is nothing traumatic about the kind of change. In fact, there is nothing noticeable about it at all. And this change happened normally and casually. It is the result of the relentless unseen wave of external influence, day after day, hour by hour, and shaping and reshaping the shorelines of our thinking. The kind of change which happens to us is the result of those minor attitude changes which come to us by way of expectation, minor event, company policies, personal relationship, relative family needs, parental authority, religious credos, peer pressures, advertising of all kinds, economic trends, daily exposure to television, radio, magazines, and newspapers, social requirement, political position, whimsical notion, close friends, and offhand comment. It is strange that this influence should shape most of our life for us, and yet they do. They are not all bad or contrary, of course. Some of them are necessary and worthwhile. Some of these influences, a few of them are the best kind we can ever hope to find, but taken as a group, these everyday influences in our life are seldom the notes on which great symphonies are played. More often they are dear, just plainly written tunes, written in the key of average, with a slowly meandering discordant melody leading to something less than the rising crescendo of the great finals we had hoped for, never once demanding of creating the lasting and beautiful orchestration of a life well lived, and the conditioning of daily living somehow convince us that mankind's greatest needs, their social survival, is also each person's greatest achievement. The real result is that we slowly and knowingly change not to achieve, but to survive, in a way that overrides the acceptance of others. We get by, we do what we must, we do as well as we can, we get along with others as well as possible, play our roles, do our jobs, put a little away for the future, and hope for the best. The dreams we dream as a children, we learn to no longer to believe that it's in tune. We are taught to play instead of believing, knowing that each of us is an entire orchestra. We are led to believe we are only the flute. We listen to the idle gossip of a friend, follow the lead of so-called leaders, fit our lives into a mold that was not of our making, tuck our dreams in our pocket and hope for better things to come. And so we are changed by the lives we live. For most of us, it is seldom and the calamitous change of catastrophic event. It is a slow, sure change of environment, the change forced upon us by the world around us. What we become a part of becomes a part of us. What we perceive and what we accept is an important part of what we do will become. The alternative change created by personal choice. The one kind of change in our life which is left up to the individual, to each of us, is the change which is created by personal choice. Have you ever thought about the fact that what you do, how you live, what you become is almost entirely up to you? Of course, there are outside circumstances to deal with, but how you deal with them is still and finally up to no one else but you. And what you decide to do next will determine what you do the next. Make the decision to do what you choose, and your next step will be your own. And sit back and let the outside world take the lead, and it will. Decide to determine your own next step and thereby your future, and you can make the decision to make each breath you breathe your own, stick by it, and each breath, step, motion, and achievement will be of your own making and of your own choice. The research of neuroscience has proved that what you determine for yourself, what you convince and give your energies to, will create or call upon a life force with all the dreams you dream into the touchable reality. But we have only recently learned the precise that makes it work. Learn how to think what you think, and you will begin to determine and redirect most of your future for yourself. If you learn how to think what you think, you will put yourself back in control, just as it is the thoughts, idea, demand, and influence of others which have guided, controlled, and directed most of our life in the past. It is the personal control of our own minds which now gives us the chance to change our futures for ourselves. You can do so much. You can, if you choose, break through the wall that stands between you and anything you would like to change or achieve. Give yourself the will to do it. Give yourself the belief, the attitude, the emotion, and the action that will get you where you want to be. The final difference, we begin the journey through the working of the mind and through the maze of possible solution with my own personal search for an answer that not only would work, but would keep on working. Temporary success is fine, but something that turns temporary success into a permanent way of life makes a lot more sense. Living each day in a more successful way is what each of us, somewhere within us, would like to achieve. There are no magic formula of that, I am sure. There are no quick solutions or overnight fixes. We are overcome with those. Name the problem or the goal, and we can find a book or the advice which tell us how to fix it and create it for a time. In many ways, we have come so far. We have achieved almost unimagined aid in our technology, in our material wealth, at our least. We have more conveniences, more tools, more appliances of life, and then the wealthiest of kings and queens had in their lives only a few decades ago. Through our medicines and our science, we have extended the potential for living more years on Earth than was ever thought possible even a few generations in the past. We have conquered the shallow envelope of space which surrounds us. We have learned to manage our businesses, some of our environment, and small part of our destinies. But we have not yet learned to manage the one part of our life which is the heart of substance of everything we would ever do. We have not yet learned to manage our own minds. The solution, learning to manage, control, and direct the resources of your mind is the greatest challenge you will ever face. The key to all management, the management of others and the management of your research and the management of your future, is self-management. Self-management is the difference between living a life of fulfillment and purpose and living out our years frustrated and incomplete, contained by the short-sighted limitation of our own disbelief. Self-management is the final conquest, and its solution is within our reach. Until recently, we haven't even known the name of our greatest adversary, and that wall which has confined us to the smallest part of what we could have been. The adversary has been us. It is the thought which we have thought. It is our own thinking which has created the limited self-portrait of who we believed ourselves to be. Our technology has taught us something. Our emerging understanding of our own human brain has pointed us in the right direction. We have learned that what we do and what we do without is not an accidental happening. We have learned that who we are and what we are is the result of more than a change of combination of genetic inclinations. We have learned that what happens next for each of us is more up to us than we might have thought. It is up to what we think and talk to yourself. Learn the words, the right words, and use them. Make yourself talk an everyday unconscious self-directing habit. Talk to yourself in a way that is kind, loving, caring, strong, demanding, and determined. Talk to yourself in the right way every day. When you do, you will give yourself the greatest gift you will ever give. Remember, you are everything that is your thoughts, your life, your dreams come true. You are everything you choose to be. You are as unlimited as the endless universe. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.